What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to the workshop. I hope you're all keeping well. Now, I'm busy in this workshop. It's a complete mess at the minute. I want to get back into making videos and making stuff, but I need to change the layout of my workshop. I need to make more space in here. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing with this video. I'll just share with you guys what I'm actually up to. So I'll show you, I've added some of my weights and stuff to the shop now. So I want to separate that from my working area, my motorbike and my weights. And so I'm going to change the layout of this shop. So I'm going to try out a few ideas in preparation for building this stud wall and just rearranging the workshop. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I'll just let you guys follow me around and I'll try and make this space work a bit better because it's an absolute disaster in here at the minute. And it's a complete mess. So let's just get on and do it. Here's a top tip for you guys. So this is gym flooring. This is a 1 meter by 1 meter mat. It's 15 millimeters in thickness, and this stuff would actually be ideal to go around a workbench in any workshop. So I have kind of rubber mats around my workbench, but it's not nearly as durable as this stuff. These are about 20 euros a piece. Like I said, 1 meter by 1 meter, 15 millimeters thick. Really nice to stand on. They would be ideal to work on around your workbench, and having a rubber mat around a woodworking bench is a great idea, just in case you ever drop anything. It's protected from the hard concrete floor, especially freshly sharpened tools. I've knocked some of my prize chisels on a concrete floor before, and that's no fun, believe you me. So even if you knock a project piece or something off the table, it happens from time to time. It's nice to have something soft to land on. Now, it's pretty durable, pretty hard, but it's also nice to stand and work on all day. So yeah, definitely if you're looking for some rubber matting to go around your workbench, check out this gym flooring stuff. 1 meter by 1 meter, comes in multiple different thicknesses. Like I said, I've got 15 millimeter thick stuff here, which seems to be plenty, I think. So I'm going to get more of this to put around my new workbench when I build that. Okay, first port of call, I'm going to move my lathe. Now my lathe doesn't get used a whole lot. I haven't actually used it in months. I don't want to get rid of my lathe because I do enjoy making stuff, and sometimes you just need a lathe for making little bits and pieces like handles and things like that. And it's very, very handy tool to have in the workshop. I don't use it a lot, but I also don't want to get rid of it. So we're going to move this down into that corner here. It's this wall here I need to sort out because, again, this partition is going to be going up here. So my planar thicknesser will have to come into this area somewhere. So this, I think, down in that corner, which is just a mess of a corner. That's our very first job. Let's get on and do that. Okay, this is the corner in question, and it's just a junk corner. So all junk now has got to go. It has no business being in the workshop because I'm running out of space. When I tidy this out, I can remove this section of worktop, and it's actually a perfect space to sit the lathe in. I'm going to do a bit of rearranging here as well, but my lathe can go here from now on. So let's get on and get this moved out. We've got a lot of clearing up to do. Okay, that gets the lathe out of the way, puts it down in the corner, which is actually a much better spot for it. Like I said, I don't use that tool too much, so being in the corner there out of the way is a good place for it. So that frees up a good bit of space here. So I'm going to take the planar thicknesser, I'm going to move that up here. I'm going to have to redo this ductwork. So if I do decide to split this workshop in half and build a stud, the stud is going to be right where this pipework is going to be. So this pipework is no longer needed, so that can all come out. I'm also going to have to move my automatic wireless controls for my dust extractor. That will have to come up here somewhere too as well. So we need to clean up this area, get the planar thicknesser up here, and start looking at maybe putting out some of this pipe work. We have some wiring to redo, and get some more tidying up down here because I feel like I'm actually making more of a mess and making less space, but bit by bit we'll get there. I also need somewhere now as well to put the table saw, so I'm going to figure that out. Let's get this thing cleaned up, get the planar thicknesser in place, and we can see if we can fit the table saw here as well. Let's do that. Okay, that's the new home for the planer thicknesser. I should have actually done that a long time ago. That should have been its original position. Look how much space I have gained here just by moving that down there and putting that there. It's a huge piece of space in the workshop. I should have went for that setup from day one. Now I'm going to get a wheel kit for this planer thicknesser. I recommend if you get any machines in your workshop, get a wheel kit for it. It just makes them so much more easier to move around. You can actually push them in out of the way, pull them out when you need to use them, and it frees up some more space. So that'll sit there. Get a wheel kit for it. If I need to put long stuff through it, I can just wheel it out from the wall, put it back in there when I'm not using it. So now all this ductwork can now go, and my extractor is going to sit right here. So yeah, let's get on and do that. Okay, that's all that pipe work now gone. I will have to redo the electrics as well, but I'll do that on another day. I won't get that done today. But my dust extractor is back in place. It's connected back up to my system. Now, I'm not going to plumb this back into the system. This thing produces so much chips and it's always beside my dust extractor anyway. So I just have a flexible hose off my planer thicknesser or my joint or whatever you want to call it. And that can plug directly into the dust and chip extractor right there. So it'll save me pulling it through the pipe. Now I might actually upgrade this guy. He is pretty powerful, but I might get a more powerful one. I'll show you exactly what came out of the overhead pipe now. It's a little bit concerning. Okay, so just took down the overhead pipe, this pipe here, and all that sawdust and chippings were sitting in it, which is just a little bit concerning. So the dust extractor wasn't actually pulling all that stuff through. So it might have had an air leak, mightn't have had enough airflow through the pipe. It obviously wasn't doing what I thought it was doing. So having all that sitting in the pipe is not good. So I have to check the other pipe, my other overhead pipe as well, and I might consider upgrading my dust extractor. Okay, so you guys who are regular viewers of my channel, you'll know what system I put in. So that's my other pipe, which heads over to my miter saw. Now, your miter saw is probably the biggest offender in your workshop for creating dust. So you want good airflow. Now, I do have good airflow at the miter saw, but I'm just wondering, I could have some potentially more dust sitting in that pipe too, which is not good. Now, I have eliminated a nice bit of pipe, so that should help the airflow to this section. I'm actually after moving my dust extractor closer to this pipe, so that will actually improve airflow there. But I think I'll upgrade that dust extractor. I might get the more powerful record power one. I really like those ones, but they have a newer one on the market that's more powerful than that, so I might do that, and then I can take that dust extractor and locate it actually over at the miter saw. So I might do that in a later video. But for now, I'm going to get this pipe work down and into the corner for that lathe. Okay, so one issue you have if you're going to use 4-inch Wavin pipe, kind of waste pipe, is that dust extraction fittings tend not to fit so well. So one option you can use is just bicycle inner tube, just to get a seal. If you have any old inner tubes lying around, this tends to do the job quite well. So we can just form a gasket. A couple of wraps round is usually enough to do it. It just forms a nice tight seal, and then when you put it back together, you get a good nice tight air seal and just lock it down. So I'll get on and make this and get this shoved back together. So there's a little tip for you. Some bicycle inner tube, if you ever want to make a gasket for your dust extraction, works quite well. Okay, there we go. Just one wrap around, a little bit insulating tape into the pipe. I shove it down and you get a nice tight seal. Job done. Okay, another thing you can do with this Wavin pipe is heat it up, and it does become quite flexible. So I just want to join the two of these. I'm going to actually just do a taped joint here, but the flexible duct is a little bit big to go inside this. So just get the heat going. And if I warm this up, it'll become quite soft. You can see just how rubbery it gets. It's a thermoset plastic, so you can really heat it up. It's a handy way of making a makeshift gasket. So if I act quickly enough, I'll be able to put that inside there, just like that. I can then do a tape joint on that, squeeze that in. That will reset now around that and harden again, and happy days. Okay, I have my flexible pipe up and around, so I can just leave that on my hangers. I can bring that around if I'm working, if I'm sanding. I'll make up another little bracket here that I can hang that off. It just pulls the dust away from when you're sanding, so that's handy there. And I can also use it for my pillar drill. So I can just hang down there out of the way. I have the blast gate back down the pipe, so I'm cutting off a whole section of pipe. So I'm not pulling air out of a section of pipe that's not been used. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to actually stand my pillar drill kind of into this corner. It's like I said, I don't use the lathe that often. And when I do, I can just pull the pillar drill out of the way. Not ideal, but again, we're trying to maximize space here as best we can. And like I said, this doesn't get used a whole lot. So the pillar drill can sit there. That frees up a whole pile of space here now where I might try and get my table saw in, if that's possible. So let's rock on. Okay, slight change of plan. I've moved my bandsaw down a bit further, so that means I can shorten this pipe work another good bit, and I can take the planer thicknesser and move that down a couple of foot forward as well, which means I'll have a place to put my table saw. I can wheel it in against this wall. There's no ideal solutions here now. Everything is just a trade-off. I'm going to try and make this work as best I can before I finally pull the trigger and build this partition wall. So I suppose that's my next step. I need to just cut, shorten this pipe and get all this stuff in place. So I'll crack on and do that. I won't bore you guys with more pipe cutting. And when that's all in place, we'll take a look and we'll see what else I have to do. Okay, that's everything moved up. Table saw is just sitting there for now. That's not going to be the permanent home for the table saw. That's going to be over here in the middle of the floor when I get this wall built. But I've freed up now 2 meters of wall space here. So essentially, like, that won't be there anymore. This is actually a much better setup. I should have set my workshop up like this from day one anyway. Like I said, that's a whole 2 meters of wall space there. That was basically wasted now that I look at it. Now the pillar drill doesn't have to stay in that corner. I can always put it against the wall, the stud wall, when I build the stud wall. There's no reason why I can't stand in the opposite corner. So I might stick it there when the wall is built. And that means I have a load of space in between the lathe and the bandsaw. The bandsaw is on wheels, so I can wheel it anywhere I want really. Put the planer thicknesser on wheels and we're good to go. So we're actually making more space by rearranging this workshop, which is good. Now let's get on and have a look at the mess I have to sort out. Okay, my next job is to tidy all this mess up, get everything organized, get this workshop cleaned up to a place where I can actually start making some projects again. And then when I have this done, I'll discuss future plans and what I'm planning on doing with this workbench, timber storage, lean-to shed outside, all that good stuff. But I'll get it tidied up, we'll see where we're at, and I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes. Okay guys, there we go. The workshop is all cleaned up, nice and tidy, and it's back to a condition where I can actually start making some projects again. Now, I have a few other things that I'm going to have to do in order to get this workshop working correctly once I build this stud wall, so I'll discuss that with you guys now. Okay, so by moving all that machinery up, I've actually gained a good bit of space in this workshop. So the next part of the process will be to build this stud wall with a double door opening here. Now, when I do that, obviously I'm going to lose a bit more space, so I'm going to have to build some timber storage solutions that are outside the workshop. So I have a bit of waste ground just down the side of the workshop here, which I'll need to clean out. It's a bit of an odd shape, so I'll have to custom build a lean-to, and it has to be large enough to take 8x4 sheets. That's going to be a project that I'm going to do in the new year. So it's coming up to Christmas time now, so I'll wait till the weather improves a bit. I'll build that in the new year. So I take all that timber that I have stored in the workshop, including my timber storage cart, and that will all go outside there, which will free up a whole pile of other space. And then my table saw can come across and slide in here. So that's going to be a big project that's going to be coming up on the channel. But the next thing I have to do in this workshop will be to build this studded partition. And I can leave this timber storage rack in here for the time being until the new year, until the weather starts getting good around springtime again. I will tackle that outside project. So that's kind of phase 2 of this workshop build. Okay, the next thing I will have to do after that then is sort out this workbench. So I want to incorporate, as I've said before in a previous video, a hand tool working section with the MFT section, router table and all that. So I'm going to completely rebuild this. I'm going to make it slightly shorter just to gain a little bit more space in this smaller working area. It doesn't need to be as long as this. I think I could probably shave a foot off it and still keep all the functionality that it has. So that's going to be the plan. So I'm going to design something with loads of storage that I can store everything underneath. It's going to have a hand tool work area, an MFT area, a router table area and loads of storage. So that'll be kind of phase 3. It might even be phase 2. I'm not sure what order this is going to all happen in. We'll see. Everything outside is weather dependent, and we'll see how it goes time wise as well. So that's kind of the 3 main things I need to do now. Build that stud wall, build a workbench and build a lean-to outside, as well as do multiple other projects in between. So there we go, guys. Okay guys, there we go. That's been a pretty good day's work in the workshop. The workshop is all tidied up. Everything is moved to where it needs to be to allow for this stud wall to take place. I have a plan of action. Now I kind of have an idea in my head of how this is all going to come together. It's nice and tidy in here again, and I can actually start making some projects. So all in all, a pretty successful day's work. So I said I'd just share that with you guys, let you know what I'm doing inside in the workshop. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and there's going to be plenty of work coming up, including a lot of electrical work I have to do, moving my wireless switch for my dust extractor. I have to move my air filtration system. I'll have to separate the lights, rewire all that. But all that good stuff will be coming up in future videos. So I'm going to get out of here now, guys. I get in and edit this video. And yeah, not a bad day's work. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Take it easy.